Alright, what the fuck is up, you degenerates? I'm coming at you straight with the story. I just want to give my quick appreciation for my 100 subs. I know I've talked about it, I'll shut up about it, but it really means a lot to me. I don't really care about likes. If you comment, of course, I'll respond, but the the subs for some reason, I don't know. It just gives me a good feeling and it helps me keep going. So, without further ado, I'm going to tell you a story about when egging cars goes wrong. And while I was thinking of this, I realized, is there a way that egging cars goes right? like, I mean, for the people getting away with throwing the egg, sure, but someone somewhere is pissed about their car. Like, my car has been egged. Like, that shit is a bitch. You have to deal with the paint. I mean, like, not my car specifically, but like, you gotta, like, do shit with the paint. Like, it's not as simple as just like painting over it or something. It's a whole process. So, this is gonna take place. This was, I wasn't even in high school yet. I was in eighth grade, seventh grade actually. And I had a friend who I skated with all the time. His name was Cameron, um, and we would always skate together. We would hang out together, and he had a house where like his parents, like, they were kind of like swingers. Like, I don't know what the correct term for them would be, but his dad was the first person I knew of wanting to transition, and this is 15 years ago. This was when that shit was way not talked about or not the norm or pronouns or whatever. Like, I kind of had to wrap my head around it for a second because this guy was like a manly man. He owned his own construction company. Like, I did jobs with him where we demolished bathrooms and stuff. Like, it was hard work, like, so it was just something I didn't expect. Anyways, he lived on a street that, it was, imagine wherever you live, imagine like a busiest, it's not like a main intersection, but it's a busy street. And it's not a four laned, like, two going one way, two going the other way. It's just one going one way, one going the other way. Okay, so what we realized is my friend Cameron lived on that street, and he had this like driveway that it went down the side of his house, but it kind of got blocked off by this wall. So, like, if you were able to time it properly, which we became like pros at after water balloon launchers and who else knows what, paintball guns and stuff, um, we figured out that, like, you know, we could, I mean, because there were other times, I mean, trust me, I have plenty more egging stories, but this is just the one that is when it goes wrong, when it goes bad. The other times was, I guess, when it went right and I didn't get caught and whatever, but I got to live with that, so whatever. But this time, we like we would throw tomatoes, we would throw like, I don't know how we didn't end up, like, me and my group of friends, I don't know how we didn't end up like in like jail, like prison, not jail, but prison. Like, we would go on the roof of a building and we would bring golf balls up there and we would throw golf balls off the roof of this establishment that was like, it was bigger than, it was probably at least 2 3 stories high, and we're just throwing them into like traffic as if they're tennis balls, they're golf balls. So, like, that's, I don't know why we were like that, but we were like that. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. That's slowly becoming my catchphrase. It is what it is. It was what it was, and it is what it is. Okay, so we're throwing tomatoes, we're throwing fruit, we're throwing anything that you can think of. We're like we're throwing it. Like we're it's like we could see the car coming, and like we could see the car coming and then kind of like go like into the little cut, and then just like either somebody would say now or whatever, like, and they would throw it. And you know like I can't even begin to. I would be sitting here for hours if I was to name off all the different things that we threw at people's cars. So anyways, that came to be a day where we didn't have really anything else left to throw. But one of my friends who was there, that shall remain nameless for this portion. I know I said I was going hard, but I just feel more comfortable leaving his name out of it. But it'll be obvious like later on. So basically, we got down to the point where like either someone had like a card that could only buy groceries or whatever. And of course, what do you think a bunch of like 13, 14, 15-year olds are going to do with like money towards groceries? We bought a bunch of eggs. Okay, we'd done it before, didn't see why we couldn't do it again. So we we thought we already had like the spot already like laid out, and thought that it was perfect. So we like continued doing our thing. We got the eggs, we came back, and it was me and my friend Cameron, whose house it was, and the other person who I am not going to disclose their name. Okay, so we lived in an area where like it was kind of like everybody kind of lived like a couple blocks from each other. And I don't mean just like my friends or people I hung out with or whatever, but just like there was a bunch of different people that lived in like a certain block radius of just like not counting apartments, but just houses of just, oh yeah, his house is right there, and then you walk 10 minutes and someone else's house is right there. So it was just like basically, not to foreshadow too much, but it was a matter of time until we I'm not even gonna spoil it for you guys. Let me just tell the story. So we're like, we're doing our thing, we're having a blast, we're having a blast, fucking committing some kind of crime, whatever. And you know, like I can remember that it started to get dark. It started to get dark, and we like, if anything, we thought that benefited us. Like it's like, damn, like, if we were doing this in broad daylight and nothing ever happened, then like doing it at night, like that should be like even more like low key, right? Wrong. So what happened was we're throwing the eggs, whatever, and the person who I choose to not name ended up throwing an egg, and it actually hit this kid Michael's truck. And yes, his name was Michael, and you'll understand in a second why. I'm not going to say his last name, but you'll understand. So what happened was he hits a car. All of a sudden we just hear slams on the brakes, and we're like, oh shit. And like we didn't know like at the time really. So like we just assumed it was like kind of like some crazy person or whatever. But like I can just remember like hearing the screeching of the brakes, and it pulled over to the side of the road, and it was literally a truck filled with these older kids that like they, I don't know why they had like unnecessary beef with me and like my friends when we were in like 6th or 7th grade for no reason, literally no reason at all. So like I didn't really feel any type of way about it or whatever, because hey, guilt by association. If that's the people that you choose to hang around, I don't care if you're the nicest guy in the world, that's what I'm going to think of you. I've had to deal with the shit like that my entire life. So what ends up happening is that car, the people, we hear the car doors open and close, and we can tell that doors opened and 4 doors closed, which meant it was at least 4 people in the car if there wasn't somebody sitting bitch, you know? So all of a sudden, I just remember like looking through the window and seeing that they were like coming to the house. So, like, I'm not gonna lie and embellish anything or whatever. My friend's room was right next to the front door, and they were like, they came to the front door and they were banging on the door and they were like yelling threats and all this stuff. And all I can remember, like, I felt like a little kid, like, because I had an airsoft like AR-15 or AK whatever, some kind of rifle, and I was literally like laying there like clutching it with my hands like so tight, like I probably had white knuckles for how like tight that I was holding it. So they're yelling and they're like saying all this stuff of what they're going to do to us and like all this stuff. And then like everything goes silent, and like we hear, they get back in their car and they drive away. So we're thinking like like we go from my homie's room, Cameron, to, we have to walk like out of his room and around to go to the front door. We go to the front door. His front door was wide open. I don't know if like how that happened. I don't know if they tried it and were like didn't want to commit a B&E. I don't know, but all I know is that door was wide the fuck open when we went to try to like see what was going on. So like at that point we were like, holy shit, dude, like your door was wide open that entire time. Like I did not expect that. And we thought like, damn, like that was pretty crazy, blah blah blah, like, like I'm glad that that's over with, blah blah blah, just talking like that. And we get back to, you know, smoking weed or, doing whatever we were doing. And like maybe an hour had gone by, and probably less than an hour, all of a sudden you just hear bow, 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 bow. And what they did is they went to the store and did the exact same shit that we did, except they had an actual target that wasn't just random come as you go target. Like they had a specific target in mind, and they used every single one. They must have gone through, let's see, 12 comes in at 12. They must have gone through at least 3 things of eggs and through every single one. And I can remember like my friend, he had to get like the screens had to get replaced at his house, and like all of that like happened. And it's crazy that they took it out on the house. I mean, I get it, but it ended up coming out that the person whose truck got hit by my friend who I choose not to name, like, he knew. And we went to high school, like, we were at high school at the same time. So, like, I'm not trying to start no beef or anything like that, but, like, if somebody egged my truck and I knew who it was, like, I'm gonna fucking do something about it. Especially if we go to the same school and like I'm constantly like every time I saw that guy, I was like, damn, like really? Like you didn't like my homie, he didn't give him no money. He didn't like I would have said, "You're going to take care of the expenses on this car," or try to make him a little bit accountable, but this guy was just like he literally I mean, he had to have been the nice guy in the group because the rest of them were mainly dicks. A lot of them I became cooler with as time progressed. But at this moment in time, it wasn't like that. So, like, it went from like paying paying X amount, and then it turned into a payment plan of paying X amount per week or month or whatever. And I swear to God, my homie never paid him a cent. So, it's not like I expected him to go and like kill my homie or something. But like at the same time, it's like, really, like, you're not going to do anything about that, like, or even like really try. Like, it just like it didn't seem like, you know like the appropriate response. So, like, I never looked at that. I still, when I think of that kid, and he's older than me too. This person's like 4 years older than me or 3 years older than me or something. But anytime I think about this, and I just kind of think to myself, like, damn, like what a bitch. Like, I don't know what else to say, like not doing anything is doing something. And I know that might be hard to understand, but it's kind of like when they say the best action is no action or whatever, but like the opposite of that. It's like no action was like the worst thing you could have done. So nothing ever happened. Like I said, my homeboy never paid him a cent, and that dude ended up taking care of all the expenses and everything on his own. And like nothing ever happened from that. And we still continued to throw shit at people from that little spot. That didn't slow us down or anything, but that was just one time where egging cars can go wrong. And that's what I have for you guys today. I appreciate you guys. I hope that you guys subscribe and like my content and all that. But it's you guys that help keep me going, and I really appreciate that. So, I hope you guys have a nice week, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow, okay?